Okay, I'm going to give a brief overview of AutoCAD Electrical and how we can get benefits from it when we're doing our controls or electrical designs. So I'm using AutoCAD Electrical 2016, which is the latest release from Autodesk. You will notice on the left that we have a project manager. Inside our project manager houses all of our projects. AutoCAD Electrical is based off of projects, and what that means is as we do drawings, they become part of our project. This gives us the ability to do parent-child relationships across drawings and it maintain those for us. Also, if we're doing layout drawings, to be able to pull components from our schematics helps to minimize our missing components. We can also do reports such as bill of materials on complete projects. One thing that I like about AutoCAD Electrical is if we have a large design here, we can break it up by adding subfolders inside of our projects. I could do a schematic subfolder. I can also do another subfolder called layouts. We could simply drag drawings into these folders. Help clean up our design a little bit, make it a little easier to get around. Also, E1 and E001 and E002 doesn't mean a lot to me. So if you've got large schematics, if you're needing to get to a safety circuit really quick or a PLC drawing, it helps if we can add additional descriptions, which we can do. With the tool we have, we can actually pull a description that comes from our title block. And now we know we're looking at the main power and control power. This is a really nice added feature. Okay, so let's jump into a design and talk about how we can get some efficiencies by doing our design in electrical. Right now I've got my main power open, which is highlighted over here. You can see two different types of ladders. We can see a three-phase ladder and we can see a single-phase ladder. All ladders are created with a specific tool called Insert Ladder. When I click on that tool, it gives us the ability to choose a three-phase ladder, single-phase ladder. All of this is determined once again by our project. If I choose a different width, I can say add all my rungs, no bus. So now if I want to choose a different reference number, maybe I want to start this reference number at 300, my spacing at 3/4, just simply hit OK. And I can pull a ladder down. This ladder came without any rungs on it, so if I do need to add a rung, we have a tool called Add a Rung. Snap in between the two vertical wires, and what we will get is a rung, and it goes ahead and puts my attachments to it. It also will choose the closest reference number, so I don't have to be exactly precise whenever I pick for 309 there. Great feature. So let's go over to my control drawing now. I've added a rung here. So let me show how easy it is to drop components onto our wires. Most of our components are added by going to the icon menu. When we go to the icon menu, we can select families, whether it's fuses, push buttons. I'm going to simply choose a normally open push button. These are intelligent symbols. As you can see up here, they can hold a lot of information. They will hold our description, which is like PB213, which is all identified through our project and how we want that set up. It also holds manufacturer content for our bill of materials, along with parent-child information. So if I simply place that on a wire, I got a dialog box that comes up. We notice that PB218, and that's because it's running off of our reference number to the left and our family. I could simply say power on. I can put manufacturer content as needed, and of course location code, which can be important. Go to the project, it's identifying all the drawings in the project, all the location codes, and maybe this is going to belong to my operator station. OK, and I've inserted my first component. Very easy to modify my components by simply doing scoot tools. I can scoot it over and it heals all of my wiring. Another great thing that electrical manages for us is if we decide to start moving components. Maybe I need to move this push button. I can select move. I could drag it down to my new rung, and it's going to ask if it can retag. I can say OK to retag. It is actually going to go out and process other drawings that have links to basically my push button PB218. I can tell it go ahead and process it, and you're going to notice it's going to flip between drawings, and it's going to go ahead and manage that parent-child relationship. So no more do we have to go and try and figure out where all my relationships are and make sure that we update them. The same thing happens, of course, on any of our contacts and relays. If we see here that 209 and 253, which is my normally closed and normally open contacts, if I come over here and I change and move this, it's going to go ahead and do the updating for us. So now we have new updating 258, which is our new normally closed. So once again, no more do we have to make sure that we track down all of our parent and child relationships. It does that for us. Another real added benefit is wire numbering. If I'm using basic AutoCAD, I've got to go through and number each one of these individual and hope that I don't miss one. Instead of doing that, I can simply go to my wire number command. Once again, based off of how we have it set up in our project, I can say tag, retag all, use my line references, do it drawing wide, and you're going to notice that it's going to place all my numbering in there. If need be, if I needed to, I can override some of this numbering and tell it not to update that if I try to go through my wire number update again. So the next thing we're going to look at is how we could save some time on layouts and maybe not miss components. So now I'm over on a layout. If we're going to be doing layout commands, we would want to be on our panel tab. So from our panel tab, to drop components on here, instead of using an icon menu, I'm going to go down to my schematic list. I'm going to look in my project, but I'm going to name a location, and I'm going to say, give me everything that belongs to my cabinet. I'm going to choose OK, and it's going to do all. Once again, it's processing my whole project. Okay, here's all the components in my schematics that had the location of cabinet. I can say hide existing. I could also just say mark existing, and I can see what already is being placed or has been placed on this drawing. So if I want, I can hide existing. It makes it a little easier for me to drop components. I'm going to take these two Eatons. I'm going to highlight both of them, and I'm going to insert them. So from there, I selected both those, hit insert. It's going to ask me the order in which I want to insert them. That'll work for me. So now, simply start dropping the components in. It adds the relationship back to the schematic, so it knows that these two are now tied together. Notice that all of my descriptions come over. Of course, my manufacturer content comes over, and my component tag. It also will do item numbering, so we can do ballooning later. As soon as I hit OK, it gives me the option to add more components. Maybe I'll add a circuit breaker. That probably needs to come up here. I like to throw all my components on and dress them up after I have all my components on my page. And maybe I'll insert even a fuse. If the fuse does not exist, if this component doesn't exist, we can even say create basic geometry. Or I could say add an entry to a manufacturer. I could say in here to make simple geometry out of it. And then my component will come in. Okay, so that gets us through doing layouts. It's going to do some updating here, and then we'll walk over to how we can do some title block updates, which is a great benefit to us. So if I zoom down here and I look at my title blocks, if you've got 100 or 200 drawings, you probably know that if someone changes a customer or maybe a machine name, you could have to go through each individual drawing, double click on it, open it up, and change it. AutoCAD Electrical title blocks are done much more efficient than that. So everything's we can base things off of projects or off of drawing descriptions. I'm going to change a project description over here, and I'm going to simply go to my project, go to descriptions. Notice that we have a Ascent AutoCAD Electrical, which is where it's housing this, and even the fundamentals. Power and controls is coming from project or from my drawing. So let's say I'm going to change this to my company or my customer. If this needs to change on all drawings, all we'll do is go to Title Block Update. We'll notice that my customer's in here. I can also tell it to, I can select this or I can select all. We can also look at what I've got in drawing descriptions. I can say do this project wide and do all my drawings. And it's going to run through each one of my drawings and correct my customer. If you've got several hundred drawings, that can save hours of time. Okay, the last thing that we will show is our reporting ability. So now that we've got our drawing set created, we've modified everything we need to modify. We will go into our reports. We have schematic reports and panel reports. If we want a full BOM, we'll run a report based upon our panel. If we just need some schematic data, we can do it from here. One of the reports from my schematics that I really like to show is this wire label report. If you've got a labeler out there that will accept an Excel file, we can run this report based on my project. Choose all the drawings. And it's going to give me a report. This will give us a wire number for each end of the wire, which is a great tool. I can set this up a little different as far as if I need multiple or 4 columns instead of 2. I can also add special breaks, because one of the things that concerns me is while all of these numbers are great to have, the different gauges use a different type of wire label. I can choose special breaks, and I can say give it to me based on my wire layer. So here's all my black 10 gauge wires. Here's all of my red 18 gauge. So we can do a lot of sorting so that we can print it on the right label. We could also save this to a file. So we've got Excel, we've got XML, Access Database, even comma separated value if you need. If we want full BOM reports, I can go to my panel and I can say give me a full BOM on the whole project. Do all. And now we have my BOM report. We can set up several different formatting based on how we want it. From our database, we have a lot of fields that I can add or remove to make the view exactly like what I want to see. We can place this on a drawing, or once again save this to a file, which would be an Excel file, ASCII, comma separated, many different formats here. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an overview of some of the abilities. There's a lot more that we didn't dig into here, but hopefully that'll give you understanding of what AutoCAD Electrical can do for the electrical design.